Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Marvel Studios assembled the making of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Very long title. But this is the last documentary that Marvel has released on Disney Plus exclusively. And I'm going to miss them. This is the last one, but it's also the very last Marvel thing that I have to watch on my list to date. And I don't see anything coming out the next 3 months or so that talks about Marvel, unless they do a Spider-Man a special look thing, which maybe they'll do. Maybe they'll do a special look for Doomsday at some point, but I might be done with this series by then. This is from 2021. Remember 2021? 5 years ago? This is also, it's an hour and 3 minutes long, but it's a behind the scenes documentary, and I always love these kind of things because I like looking behind the scenes. I like to see how these things are put together, not before I see the end product, but after, and that's what this is good for. If you watch the series, you can just roll right into this and see how it is all put together. Yes, it's a lot of glad handing, and a lot of people just talked about how much I loved working with this person and that person. Here's how this special effect fix this scene and how they shot this and why we chose this storyline and this character and casting and all those things. Yes, it's all of those things. But this is a show that was established. It was built in pretty much in the 20s. Yeah, in 2020. It was being filmed in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and that caused a lot of changes to shooting schedules and moving things around. So you could see them working on things, and then suddenly, hey, we need to pull everybody out of Puerto Rico and Prague, and also nobody's coming into work for a while in Atlanta either, where they shot a majority of this. So yeah, we get to see the impact of the real world on the production of something like this. It's a unique point in history. We don't have the last 100 years ago when there was a big plague and a lot of people died. There was nobody doing reports on, oh well, this motion picture was shut down because everybody died in the cast. No, there's none of that in this. But we have Anthony Mackie, we have Sebastian Stan, we have them and the directors and the crew and the visual production people and the costumers all talking about what it's like to be making a show and then having everything shift on us. And did it make the show better or worse or anything else? But they're never going to say it's going to make it worse. But they're going to talk to you about how they were given some time to change things around. And I know some people are always going to complain that it's never exactly what they wanted it to be. They want it to be a punch fest the entire time. They just want to have a bunch of stand around cameos from everybody. I want Chris Evans to show up and do the Captain America thing. No. Yes, he's coming back for Doomsday, but he's not Captain America. Anthony Mackie is. Sam Wilson is. And that is actually a big component. One of the most important parts of this is not just the time in which it was made, but also the story that it's telling. There's a lot of different stories being told, and they were super relevant then. Yes, there's a political element to this. It can't not be. Socio-political, I should say. It can't not be that way. There's a black man holding up an American flag-colored shield and fighting injustice against powerful people at all levels. And it's a black man holding it. The black man has never always been treated well when it came to living under the American flag. It's a difficult choice. That's when they bring in Isaiah Bradley, the original pre-Steve Rogers Captain America. Well, super soldier, I should say. Super soldier. He never got to really be Captain America. And you know why. But it's a story that's taken right from the comics. I was reminded of just how much so many of these storylines were directly lifted from the comics, even if it looks a little bit differently. Like Aaron Kellyman, who plays the Flag Smasher, or a member of the Flag Smashers, they don't. She's not the Flag Smasher. But the Flag Smasher is a character who is meant to go up against Steve, physically pretty much the same, very muscular, got a cape, but he's against all nations. He wants to destroy all borders. He wants to bring the world together by force. And he is a character who is a bad guy, who has selfish motives and actions to a certain degree, but his end goal isn't necessarily one of destruction of the people, but rather of nations. At least nations that would make those divisions a reason to go to war against each other. And in this case, when it's portrayed by a little red-haired young woman, it's a very different story. It's a little bit more realistic. Yes, Cap doesn't get to punch her in the face, even though she can take it. Let's just say she can handle a punch from Cap. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil that in case you haven't seen the show yet. But they're not ignoring the show, and the documentary that talks about it here doesn't shy away from the political aspects. The unfortunate part of all of this is that while this story that it tells, the many different layers of stories, and the characters that go through all this stuff is very relevant then, and it's unfortunately even more relevant now. In just astoundingly bad ways. Not the show, but the world. The world. Yeah. I'm going to do my best not to be political here. But yeah, you can see this. You can see this. That there are different levels of society and politics and nations and people that are treated differently based on all of those different factors. And what is Captain America doing in the midst of all of this? While he struggles, while Sam struggles with being Captain America and being a black man, one he can't choose. He doesn't get to choose. One he can choose. Is it seen as a betrayal? Especially by the man who lived it? That's the part of the story that's being told. And can a nation without a Captain America just manufacture one that looks right and dresses the part, let's just say, and does whatever is necessary? I know that Wyatt Russell has gotten a lot of hate for playing U.S. Agent or Captain America, the American-approved, the government-approved Captain America. But he shouldn't have. It's a character you're meant to not like. It's the point of the character, even though it's something that everybody's cheering for. We want a Captain America. We want a symbol. We want a man who will stand up for what's good and right and just. And I believe that John Walker is the character that is trying to do that. But it's compromised when it's not the choice of a man, but the choice of a government to do that. So it's his story. And then there's Bucky's story, of course, who has done so many horrible things that we saw come to a culmination back in the Civil War film, that he doesn't want to be that weapon anymore. And that's it's his story is just, part of it's going to therapy, part of it's struggling between these two worlds as he continued to be violent. He spent his time in Wakanda trying to sort of get right, and even that wasn't enough. So how does he come to terms with who he is? So yeah, it's the stories for me in this, and the characters who portray them, the actors who portray them in these situations are highly relevant. But what's even better is that going back through this, watching this, you see this as a very big crux point series. There's a number of things like that, even things that may seem really small or insignificant. Out of this rolls much of what we got from Thunderbolts, New Avengers. with using Wyatt, with Sebastian Stan, with Winter Soldier, and why can't I say her name? Julia Louis-Dreyfuss playing Contessa Valentina. Let's just call her Val. Bringing Val into this story, and her jump now appearing in a number of different films. Again, this is kind of the birthing stages for what would happen in the Thunderbolts, and also the birthing stages which would happen in Captain America: Brave New World. And each of these things, yes, they should be able to stand on their own, and that's, I believe, this story does, and it does come to a conclusion that is satisfying to the main characters and their role in the Marvel universe. But of course, it leads to something else, and it introduces new players like Val, and also Isaiah. Isaiah is humongous, of course, really important continuation in the Brave New World story. And there's going to be other things rolling out of that as well. So, yeah, you never know how these things are going to go. But the fun thing for me is to see how much forethought is put into it, how much creativity of the stories that I already know a version of in the comics. Among the very first comics I bought when I was like 14. I'd been reading comics that were stocked up in my grandpa's basement, some Silver Age stuff, mostly of it DC. But the Marvel stuff, the first stuff I bought at like a bookstore, not necessarily, we didn't really have any comic shops in my area back then, but in a bookstore in a mall, I bought, among the 4 or 5 books that I bought, was Captain America 300. He's fighting it out with the Red Skull on the cover. And from there, I would go to flea markets and things like that and start building the backstory that built up to that 300th issue. And through that, I got to see characters like the Flag Smasher and Dennis Dumphy and all these other characters, all of them drawn by Mike Zeck, because for some reason I would only buy books that were drawn by Mike Zeck for a while, because he did the covers for Secret Wars and so many others. Now I'm just getting into my nerdy talk. So just to wrap this up, these are kind of the documentaries that, while they were making them, were perfect to watch as a capper to the series that you just watched. I feel like I've watched this already, but it's been 5 years, so I might not have. Some of these stories also they tend to kind of clip them out and put them on, shorts and stuff on YouTube or Facebook or something like that. So it feels like I've watched bits and pieces of these things. But to me, I just love how movies and TV shows like this are made. I don't think I'd love to work for Marvel. I don't think I'd love the life of knowing what's going to happen in the movies. I've been to Star Wars, the Lucasfilm Studios, and I've friends who used to work there, and they're like, I kept telling them, I don't know if I could work here. I don't know if I wanted to try to get a job here. I don't know if I could work here because I'd be spoiled. Some certain things would be spoiled. I don't want to hate a job where Star Wars is at the core of it. So I'm not saying I won't take a job. So Marvel, hit me up. But yeah, I just would like to stay away. I like the pure experience of seeing these things in the theaters or here on Disney Plus. So, yeah, it's sad to see this come to an end. Hopefully, I'm sure my series will be over by the time Spider-Man: Brand New Day makes it to Disney Plus, and certainly well before Avengers Doomsday shows up. So. But maybe I'll show up every so often just to talk about those when they do arrive. We'll see. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 44. 44. Oh, man. I like the fact that I'm getting a lot of different things in a row. Like, I have 4 different categories. Movies, a scripted series, documentaries, reality shows, and shorts. And a couple days ago, we had 4 different categories right in a row. There's a nice mix. And we have very few, other than documentaries, reality shows, which are all in the same category. We only have like 4 scripted series and 4 shorts left. And we have barely a half dozen movies. No, we have one movie. We only have one movie because we already burned through those if you don't count the Predator things. So, this, I think, will bring us down to 4 shorts after we watch Kif, Lore of the Ring Light. So, yeah, there's a little animated special featuring our buddy Kif. If you haven't seen the series, go see it. It's worthwhile. It's good, weird fun. And this, I have a feeling, is going to have a little bit of a nod to Lord of the Rings and things like that. So, Kif, Lore of the Ring Light is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.